God is announcing that this is where you'll be making your home starting next week. Pay close attention to this message, because if you ignore it, you could be missing out on a decisive turning point in your life. The Lord has observed your hardships, your endless nights, your isolation, as well as the pleas you've whispered in tears, invisible to the eyes of the world. And now He is speaking. Divine change is imminent. This message is not addressed to everyone, but to you in particular. To you who have felt lost, to you who have been temporarily stuck, to you who have asked, Lord, when things will really change. Here's your answer. You're not where you're supposed to be, but in the days ahead, God will reveal that destination to which you've been called. A concrete place, a sacred space where your spirit can finally breathe. From this place will flow healing, restoration, prosperity, and serenity. Stay present, for at the end of this communication, a heavenly confirmation will come over you, and you'll know without a shadow of a doubt that God has chosen your new home. Chapter 1. Urgent message from heaven. The Lord roused me from sleep in the middle of the night with these words. Tell my child that I'm about to change them. The place where they live now is not the place for them. I have prepared a new home. It's not just a physical move, it's a spiritual readjustment. What lies ahead is not just a new address. It's heavenly territory where your prayers will finally be answered and the struggles you've endured will come to an end. Sometimes God intervenes in our daily lives to deliver an urgent message. This is one of those times. This message has been granted from on high because the moment is critical. The enemy has plans to trap you where you are, to stifle your faith, isolate your soul, and hinder your blessings. But God is always one step ahead. That's why this message reaches you today. You didn't find yourself watching this video by chance. Heaven orchestrated it. The same Spirit that guided the Israelites out of Egypt is generating movement in your existence right now. Over the next week, your life may take a new course, but it's entirely up to you. If you listen, if you act. This message represents a turning point. And at this very moment, the Spirit of the Lord is enveloping you with clarity and urgency. He's about to show you something, and when He does, don't hesitate, because any hesitation could have consequences. You've prayed for direction. You've asked, Lord, show me the way, show me the direction. And now He answers. The Holy Spirit speaks to you, not through thunderclaps or dazzling manifestations, but through a deep sensation in your being, a hunch that something is changing, a gentle impulse, a whisper that says, you no longer belong here. This is how the Lord guides those who are dear to Him. He doesn't shout. He guides subtly, step by step, moment by moment. And when He points you to the next place, it may not be outwardly impressive. It might look strange to others, but something inside you will recognize it. You'll feel peace. You'll feel liberated. You'll feel like you've finally come home, because God doesn't just point you in the right direction. He also brings confirmation. Sometimes He manifests Himself through dreams, at other times through others. But often it's that silent inner knowing, that sacred unease where you are, and that sudden attraction to something new. Be on the lookout. Feel free to leave a comment thanking the Lord for His works in your life. You've overlooked the signs. It's not fate that you're receiving. This message today, I'm convinced that God wants to touch you at this very moment. Please click on the link in the description or in the commentary for a free guided prayer, a powerful prayer that will help you release divine prosperity and welcome peace into your heart. You'll receive it personally and directly. It's simple, fast, and completely free. Don't let this precious opportunity pass you by. You may have questioned the change, but this is your moment. God is calling you to follow His path, and He will lead you to the place where your blessing awaits. However, He needs your obedience, and that can't wait, not for next month. Right now the door is opening, but it won't stay open indefinitely. If this message resonates with you right now, I encourage you to leave a comment writing, "I hear, Lord, I mean it." Let heaven bear witness to your faith. Let the angels record your obedience. This is the kind of agreement that initiates miracles, a sign the unpleasantness you feel. One of the clearest clues that God is preparing to move you is that moment when you no longer feel comfortable in your current situation. What once felt secure now feels oppressive. What was familiar has gradually turned into something strange. People around you begin to distance themselves. The atmosphere around you changes, and suddenly you feel out of place. It's not confusion. It's not just the passage of time. It's the Holy Spirit shaking your comfort zone. Discomfort is heaven's way of calling you to awareness. When God desires to lift you up, He removes the shock absorbers from your daily routine. He allows the tension to build, not to punish you, but to prepare you. If you stay too long in a place that no longer fits your mission, you risk missing out on the blessing He has planned for your next step. The Israelites begged to be freed from Egypt, but when God sent Moses, many of them were reluctant to leave. Why? Because it's sometimes easier to cling to what's known. Even if it represents a form of slavery, the enemy wishes to see you frozen in this familiarity so that you never move on to discover what is promised to you. However, God is shaking the ground beneath your feet to announce, "Get ready. I'm reorganizing your life." The frustrations you've been feeling for a while, the people who are distancing themselves, the lack of progress despite your best efforts, these are not failures or punishments. It's a divine message that you're past this phase. The grace of your current situation is beginning to dissipate, and where grace wanes, growth stops. You're trying to bring fruit to a field that's no longer productive, but the Lord declares, "The place to which I am taking you is already blessed. The land is ready. All I want from you is to be ready to act." So, what's holding you back? Fear, doubt, waiting for a sign. Here's your signal. This message is addressed directly to you. God is validating what He has already deposited in your heart. It's time to act. Let this truth shatter all your hesitations. And if these words resonate with your thoughts, I invite you to express your obedience. Leave a comment saying, "I trust God. I'm ready to leave this place." Or, "I feel it. God is pushing me forward. I'm not going to resist Him." May every angel assigned to you see your faith in motion. May your opponents understand that you are moving away from the old. May heaven take note of your agreement. Your discomfort is no accident. It's a divine call to move forward in this new stage of your life, on this new path you're taking. A spiritual awakening is taking place, accompanied by dreams, symbols, and revelations that bear witness to a profound change to come. Sometimes, heaven communicates not through preaching or overheard voices, but through symbols, dreams, and a spiritual language that only those who have truly opened their eyes can grasp. You've probably experienced disturbing dreams and observed recurring figures around you. Whispers may have echoed in your sleep, and an inexplicable attraction may be drawing you to unfamiliar places. You may wake up at specific times every night, between 3 and 4 a.m., and this is by no means accidental. God is trying to get your attention. Before he makes a change in your material life, he awakens a spiritual sensitivity in you. For every transition in the physical world begins with an inner movement. Have you felt a change in yourself? An inner restlessness, an intuition that something is approaching, but you don't know exactly what. This is not anxiety, nor is it simply the passage of time. It's a spiritual awakening. It's God urging you to stay alert, because something big is brewing behind the curtain. The Lord communicates with his people through dreams. In the book of Genesis, chapter 46, verse 2, it says, God spoke to Israel in night visions and said to him, Jacob, Jacob. And he answered, Here I am. Pay attention, because your subconscious has become God's canvas. Your dreams are loaded with messages emanating from the throne room. That recurring image in your dreams, that mysterious house that keeps appearing, that open door, that river, that voice calling your name, all these are not the result of pure chance. These are prophetic messages delicately embedded in your mind as the tumult of the world calms down. If you've been dreaming about moving, packing, or exploring uncharted territory, here's what's crucial to understand. The spiritual realm is already making room for this coming change. God anticipates and sends signs before the move, for he never takes his people into ignorance. He reveals things before he makes them a reality. Nevertheless, be careful. If you choose to overlook these spiritual indications, if you neglect the meaning of your dreams, you could find yourself stuck in a season already completed in heaven. The door to your next step is opening, but if your mind remains asleep, you risk missing it. That's why it's essential to stay alert. Your soul must remain vigilant. Your future takes shape in whispers, in visions, in those subtle moments when your body is silent and your mind is listening. I encourage you to leave a comment thanking God. Lord, I hear you in my dreams. I'm ready, and I will not fail to pick up the signs. I will follow the path you show me. Your obedience is being tested. Right now, this is about more than just dreams. This is a quest for alignment. These visions are not illusions. They are prophecies, and every prophecy calls for an answer. You have asked God to manifest himself. He has heard your call. Now is the time to act. Open your eyes. Listen carefully, and above all, open your minds, for the process of your change has already begun in the heavenly realm, and it won't be long before it materializes on earth. Before the promises come true, there is a testing phase. Before God brings you into your promised land, he will take you through the desert. This is a spiritual law. This is not punishment, but preparation, because God will never transfer you to a new place without you being able to bear his presence. Many people miss out on their blessings because they fail to grasp this fundamental principle. They beg for change and pray for a breakthrough, but when the trials come, they rebel, not understanding that this is often the last step before the promise is fulfilled. Crossing the desert is rarely a pleasant experience. The environment is dry, isolated, and often marked by silence. For many, it can feel like abandonment. The truth is, however, that it's in this desert that heaven is watching you at close quarters. It's in this space that God eliminates distractions. He silences the voices of your adversaries and shapes your obedience through trials. Ask Moses, Joseph, or David. Every biblical figure who was called toward a divine goal first went through times of rejection, isolation, discomfort, and uncertainty. This should not be interpreted as punishment, but rather as preparation. Where God is leading you requires a version of yourself that cannot be affected by fear, bitterness, or unbelief. The desert doesn't represent the end, but rather a phase of transformation. It's here that you shed your old way of being, bury suspicion, and base your faith no longer on emotions, but on solid truths. Let me be clear. This is why some doors remain closed. It's not that God has said no, but He's waiting for you to overcome the ordeal. You long for certain places, but as long as residues from your past remain, God won't send you there. It's impossible to embrace the new while remaining attached to the old ways. You won't be able to claim the promises if the chains of your past aren't broken. So, what does your desert look like? Are you struggling financially? Are you emotionally distant from others? Do your prayers seem to go unanswered? Do you feel a deep sense of abandonment? These are not signs that God has abandoned you. They are indicators that God is preparing you. The greater the promise, the deeper the preparation. Some of you are right on the threshold. The enemy is trying to deplete your strength in this difficult time, seeking to get you to give up just before the blessing comes. I'm here to remind you not to even think about it. Not now, not here, not after everything you've already overcome. Your experience in the desert is not the conclusion of your journey. Rather, it's the transition between where you were and where God has planned for you. Listen to me carefully. Your time in the desert is about to come to an end. The Lord is about to release you from it, not in a broken version of yourself, but transformed and refined, not bitterly, but in blessing. So now, affirm your faith loud and clear. Take a moment to write in the comments, "I will not give in the wilderness. I will pass this test, or this season of drought comes to an end. God is preparing me for greater things." Express it. Proclaim it. Let those words resonate in your mind, because the promise doesn't just come. It's waiting for you, just on the other side of that final trial. Remain faithful. You are about to arrive. The land has already been prepared. God has already chosen the place where your blessing will flourish. You continue to pray, "Lord, where should I go next?" You search, you wait, you wonder. But what you don't understand is that this place is already ready. Long before the Israelites set foot in Canaan, God had already demarcated borders, organized resources, and even warded off enemies. They didn't enter an empty space. They entered a blessing designed for them. And now you're next on that list. Listen carefully. The Lord has already designated this place. It bears your name. No one else can say. It's etched in your mind and awaits your obedience. That house you've always dreamed of, that city that fascinates you without you being able to give a precise reason. That place that keeps coming back to your mind, almost like a sacred sound. Don't think that God lets His thoughts wander into your mind by coincidence. These are spiritual indications. He's trying to guide you in a direction. He's already ahead of you. You've prayed for a miracle, but God has already set the scene. This miracle is not in the making. It's being revealed to those who are ready. Let me ask you a question. Have you noticed how some doors close unexpectedly around you? People drift out of your life. Opportunities are dwindling where you once had access to abundance. This happens because the current environment can no longer support your calling. When God is done with a place, it becomes uncomfortable, barren, and unstable. Why does this happen? Otherwise, you'd be tempted to stay. But you can't confine yourself to that place, because there is a place, yes, a specific place, where divine connections are waiting for you, people you haven't met yet, but who are already praying for someone like you. Opportunities, missions, blessings are already waiting. All you need to do is take a step of faith. It's not about packing your bags tomorrow. It's about opening your heart today. It's about saying, "Lord, I'm ready to move towards the places where you are already present. You don't need to force the realization of the blessing, but simply enter into it. Look in Deuteronomy 6, ground 211. Do you hear what God is announcing? The task has already been completed. You're not coming to this place to start all over again. You arrive to inherit. But the first condition is to believe that something better is not only possible, but promised. So I ask you now, are you ready to enter into what God has already planned for you? Are you willing to trust Him beyond what your eyes can grasp? Because if you don't take advantage of this opportunity, someone else might try to take what was meant for you, but that person won't be able to keep it, because what God has allotted for you cannot be claimed by others. It belongs to you if you act in faith. And if today you feel this call to go further, consider becoming a member of this chain by clicking on the join button or on the link in the description. By doing so, you're not only supporting this work, you're sowing seeds in the hearts of thousands of souls day after day. Together, we bring God's light to those who need it most. What's more, as a member, you'll receive unique spiritual blessings dedicated to those who support this mission. At this time, make a proclamation of faith. Write in the comments, I believe the place is ready. I'm ready to join. Or the Lord has prepared the way. I won't give in. May heaven hear your voice in harmony with what is already manifesting itself. May the angels act on your behalf. May your spirit awaken to this truth. You don't have to wait for your next season. Your next season is waiting for you. Now is the time. Your adversaries will be removed. God lights the way before you. He positions you before He places you in this new land. Before that, He has to deal with everything and everyone that can't follow you. You felt it. People move away. Friendships fade precipitously. Family members become distant, unexpected. Assaults appear. Rumors spread. Betrayal creeps in. And the peace you knew is replaced by palpable tension. You've probably asked yourself, Lord, why is this happening now? Why am I losing loved ones when I need them? Why have I become the target when all I've done is remain faithful? The answer, though obvious, is deeply spiritual. It's because you're getting closer to what lies ahead. As heaven begins to prepare to welcome you, hell begins to worry. The adversary will do everything in his power to distract you, make you lose your credibility, and bind you to people or places that weren't meant to accompany you to the promise God has for you. Listen carefully. Not everyone can enter the promised land that awaits you. It's important to understand that not everyone is called to be part of the next chapter of your life. What's more, those who applauded you in the past season won't necessarily celebrate your rise in the next. God is not cruel. On the contrary, He acts with total strategy because He knows that the destination that awaits you requires clarity of mind. It requires lucidity. It requires you to move forward in alignment without negative attachments. Remember what God told Gideon before sending him into battle. He drastically reduced his army from 32,000 to just 300. Why is that, you ask? Because victory doesn't depend on how many people are around you, but on those who are actually sent by God. Some of you are still mourning the loss of those who left. You wonder why that door closed, why that opportunity slipped through your fingers. But what if God was protecting something you haven't yet been able to perceive? What if their presence in your next season might hinder your advancement? God doesn't just offer you a new space. He watches over this blessing by warding off threats before you even get to the door. That's exactly what's happening right now. The friction you feel with certain people, the sudden silence of those who were once close, the tension you feel towards familiar surroundings, It's all part of the purification process that comes from God. He is clearing your path. He is keeping away those who are not destined to walk with you in this new dimension, not because you dislike them, but because their presence could slow down the fulfillment of your potential. You don't need to respond. You don't have to explain your decisions. You don't have to try to fix what God has already chosen to break. Just let it go. Your goal is not to hold back. Your real goal is to move forward. Consider Exodus 23:27. I will go before you and rout all the nations you meet. I will turn my back on all your enemies. This is God's promise to you today. He's not just paving the way, He clears the way before you take it. Every spirit of jealousy, every lying word, every spiritual attack, every spiritual bond designed to hold you back, God is removing. You're facing resistance, not because you're weak, but because you're a threat to the enemy's plans. Your mere presence in this new territory will end generational curses, release wealth, restore inheritances, and engender revival. The enemy is well aware of this. That's why he's tried to bury you under distractions and betrayals. But it won't work, because the Lord declares, I am clearing away what is blocking you. I am straightening the crooked paths. I will not allow what is tainted to contaminate what is sacred. Let these words sink deep into your heart. You are being separated in order to be elevated. Here's what I encourage you to proclaim with faith. In the comments, write, Lord, remove all my enemies from me so that I don't have to fight for what you are removing from my life. Let it be engraved in heaven that you have chosen obedience over attachment, that you have made a choice between divine destiny and fleeting comfort, that you are ready to take me to a new place, provided my purpose is purified. For those who have been there for this season will not be there for the next. The battle is coming to an end. The selection process is complete. The ground is ready to reveal itself, a door that opens by itself. When will it happen? God. No force can block it. There comes a time in every believer's life when personal effort is no longer enough, when wisdom seems insufficient, your finances seem limited, and your relationships can carry you no further. That's when a supernatural phenomenon takes place. A door opens by the power of God alone, without you having to push it open, or use your connections, or even pray. It's God proclaiming that the time has come to move forward. Some of you have been knocking on these doors for many years. You've tried your luck, waited patiently, and tried again and again. You've heard promises, but in response, you've found doors closed until despair has become your daily routine. But listen carefully, you weren't rejected. On the contrary, you were simply being redirected, because when the door intended for you opens, you won't need to force it. It will open by itself, without explanation or manipulation, without stress or haste. The book of Acts, chapter 12, verse 10, tells of a powerful moment. They passed the first and second guards and reached the iron gate leading into the city. The gate opened of its own accord, and they were able to pass through. Let this image linger in your mind. An iron gate that opens effortlessly. It's not chance, it's not luck, it's a divine appointment. This is what happens when God says it's time. Some of you will soon see doors open where you weren't even expecting them. Unexpected calls, opportunities you never imagined, people who don't know you becoming instruments of your upliftment. And when this happens, it will seem so easy, so fast and so incredible that you'll wonder, is this really happening? Why me? Why now? But let me assure you of something. God doesn't need your record to open a door. He's waiting for your obedience. When you've suffered enough, when you've overcome the trial, God will open a door that your enemies won't be able to close. that your past won't be able to pursue, and that your fears won't be able to block. No one will be able to claim glory. No institution will be able to claim that it made this possible. It will be clear that it's God's hand at work, because when it's really your door, you won't even need a key. Heaven itself will open it. And then, as you read these words, God's Spirit is already touching the hearts of those who will be your benefactors. He is aligning resources. He's rearranging schedules. He's moving mountains behind the scenes. Although the door is not yet visible, it is already beginning to open. And when it does, you owe it to yourself to walk through it. No delays, no excuses, no fear. This is not the time to hesitate. This is not the time to doubt. It's time to declare, Lord, when you open the door, I will come through. Indeed, delay can be seen as a form of disobedience. Obedience, and especially immediate obedience, is what triggers the favor that awaits you on the other side. At this moment, I ask you a question. Will you walk through the door, or will you remain frozen in the corridor of hesitation? Let God know right now which choice you're making. Write in the comments, I'll walk through the door when God opens it. Or perhaps you'll say, I won't miss my chance. I'm ready, Lord. Let your faith flourish. Prepare your mind. The next door you encounter will require not effort, but confidence. The handle turns. The hinges are set in motion. The next chapter of your existence doesn't depend on your struggles, but simply waits for you to dare to enter this new passage. When that door opens, everything will become clear, for it will feel like coming home, perhaps to a place you've never set foot in before, but where your soul will nevertheless feel fully welcomed. A new home symbolizes a new season. A change of place also means a change of destiny. What would you think if I told you that your current situation is a constraint, that your goal is in jeopardy? If you're experiencing blockage, neglect, underutilization, spiritual dryness, and emotional fatigue, it may be because you're anchored in a season that God has already closed in heaven. It's time to discuss this further. Your physical environment influences your spiritual mission. Where you are plays a key role in your inner development. For many of you, what you call home is no longer the fertile soil you need to thrive. You're taking a decisive step because it's not just a change of location, it's a spiritual passage. And it's at this precise moment that heaven reacts. A new destiny, a new commitment, a goal divinely prepared until now. It's not just a new address, it's a divine appointment. God has planned not only a place, but also a season that will only begin when you put your footsteps where He guides you. Every time God commanded a person to change location in the Scriptures, their destiny was transformed. Abraham migrated and became the father of nations. Ruth left her country to meet her Redeemer. David left his flock to take up his kingship. Elijah was instructed to go to Zarephath, where God had prepared a widow to provide for him. If any of them had stayed in their original place, they would have let the next dimension of their calling slip away. That's why the enemy wants you to doubt this truth. That's why your flesh resists leaving what it knows. Your new home is not just a novelty, it's a divine unlocking. The enemy is aware of this. As soon as you enter the space God has provided, your voice will rise with greater force. Your influence will expand. Your provision will be multiplied. Your function will deepen. Peace will return to your life. And why? Because you'll be in tune with the divine. Where there is this alignment, there is acceleration. Some of you have been struggling for years to make things work in your current situation, trying to mend ties that God has already severed, trying to build projects in cities where God has never called you, trying to thrive in lands that have long since rejected your roots. But now, you're beginning to realize that God is trying to move you because what you'll need for the future, providence, protection, meaning, and people, isn't where you are right now. It's in this space towards which you're being guided that everything begins to transform. Allow me to make a few clarifications. The season of your life doesn't begin until you start taking action. It's important to note that the door won't open if you don't step forward. Blessings will not be poured out until your obedience is manifest. You may have experienced a period of stagnation, not because God decided to deny you something, but because you remained frozen where He had asked you to leave. Today, however, He grants you His grace. This message you are receiving is a second confirmation of His intention for you. If you read on, it's because you're one of the chosen few, called upon to embrace this change before the end of the year. This isn't just about an impulsive move, it's about strategic alignment. When you knock on the door intended for you, you'll discover opportunities that you never imagined. You'll encounter life-changing conversations, regain health you thought you'd lost, and joy you'd forgotten you had. You'll experience peaceful nights of sleep and a favor that follows you every step of the way. There'll be no need to beg for miracles because you'll feel change all around you. This land was blessed before you came, but it could only release its treasures with your arrival. That's why the enemy has attacked you so much this year. His strategy has always been to slow down this movement, because the enemy doesn't fear the person you used to be. He fears what you'll become once you've taken your place in your new territory. At this point, I'd like to invite you to affirm your faith out loud. Write in the comments, "I am ready for the place and season God has prepared, for this move will unlock my destiny. I will take no detours." This is where the scene changes profoundly. This isn't just a narrative, it's a spiritual chord. You now enter a space where everything begins to harmonize. You're not simply in a new environment, you're entering the fulfillment of a promise. This is your time. Don't look back. On this occasion, I invite you to leave a comment thanking God for this new beginning that awaits you. Miracles and divine relationships await you in this new space. What's about to emerge as soon as you arrive is that you've managed to survive until now. You've suspended your spiritual breath, clinging to faith more than ever, praying fervently. "Lord, just give me a sign, an opening, a confirmation to prove I'm not forgotten." Now His answer is imminent, but what you don't yet fully grasp is what follows. The place God is calling you to isn't just a change of scenery. It's a supernatural realm. It's not just a physical move. It's a place where miracles are already ready to welcome you. Even as you read these words, divine encounters are being orchestrated in the invisible realm. People who don't even know who you are yet will be touched and are preparing to act to help you. Opportunities will come to you, not because of your current connections, but because of what God is about to release into your life. Healings, whether physical, emotional, or financial, will begin as soon as you obey and step into this new space. Let me speak to you prophetically now. Connections that await you in this new place, that you prayed for during your current situation, will only manifest when you find yourself in the right place. For abundance is always tied to location. When the prophet Elijah obeyed and went to the torrent of Kerith, God sent ravens to feed him. It was not when he was considering leaving, but after he had made the decision to act that he encountered God's call. When he left the river to go to Sarepta, God had already prepared a widow to welcome and support him in this new step. However, this divine support only began to manifest itself after Elijah had taken the first step. It's the same for you. Many resources, opportunities, rewarding relationships and revelations await you, but they're tied to your future path rather than your current situation. God won't bring his blessings to you as long as you stay put, because where you are now isn't in line with the destination the Lord has for you. You ask, where is the miracle? But heaven wonders instead, where is your commitment? The manifestation of this miracle depends on your ability to move, to change position. You've cried while sowing, you've worked quietly, you've faced dry spells and disillusionment, but hear me out. The soil of your future is fertile with favors and blessings. There are ideas hidden within you that have yet to see the light of day, not because they are failing, but because they are not placed in favorable conditions. There's a stronger, bolder, freer version of you that can only emerge in the right environment. The place where God sends you is the fruit of divine intention. It's a sacred place. And as soon as you set foot on this ground, something will unblock. A dynamic will take hold. Connections that seemed inaccessible before will recognize you. People destined to support your call will identify you in spirit. Doors that have been closed for years will open quickly. And all this will seem sudden to you, but it has long been prepared by heaven. You couldn't perceive it until now, because the miracle was waiting for your initiative. Listen carefully. The destination to which God is guiding you has been the subject of meticulous spiritual preparation. Every element, every resource, every individual, every solution has already been orchestrated. Pay close attention. It's no coincidence that you're hearing this message today. The Bible tells us, give, and it will be given to you, a full measure, well-packed and overflowing. Luke 6:38. If this resonates with you, make an act of faith, a gift of love. Whether it's 10, 50, or even 100 euros, it can be a precious spiritual seed in God's hands. This modest gesture could be the invisible turning point heaven has been waiting for. I pray that everyone who makes a commitment will receive 100 times more peace, healing, and divine answers. God doesn't improvise. He orchestrates every detail. And this process isn't just about your comfort, it's about your vocation. Because what you'll accomplish in this place, the healing you'll receive, the impact you'll leave, the legacy you'll build are far more far-reaching than you can imagine. You're not just moving, you're moving into prophetic alignment with your destiny. So I invite you to act in faith. I encourage you to write a comment thanking God. Don't remain silent. Express your gratitude and inscribe your name in the heavens. Your life is about to shift from mere survival to a divine plan. The place you're headed isn't just a change of scenery, it's the stepping stone to the most meaningful season of your existence. The miracle won't come to your current situation, it's waiting in your next destination. Don't look back. God's command is clear. You must go forward. When he utters this instruction, he is not waiting for your assent. He is not negotiating with your fears. And he is not standing idly by, waiting for your validation or that of others. God demands our progress because the door behind you is already closed. Yet many of us feel blocked, not because they haven't perceived the divine call, but because they choose to turn away. They remember what was comfortable, what was familiar, those relationships, habits, and roles that no longer suit them. They look back nostalgically at the life they've built, even though it's falling apart. It's similar to the fate of Lot's wife. In the book of Genesis, chapter 19, verse 17, it says, "Flee for your lives, do not turn back or stop in the plain." However, in verse 26, it says that Lot's wife behind him turned around and was turned into a pillar of salt. Understand this situation. She wasn't just punished for a simple glance. Her judgment was pronounced because her heart was still attached to what God had already rejected. Although she had left the city had not left her heart. Today, still many believers are in a similar position, physically present in a new chapter of their lives, but emotionally fettered by the old. God has spoken. He has awakened your spirit. He has shown you the signs, yet you persist in revisiting memories that shouldn't define you, ruminating on exchanges that have already ended. You're constantly asking yourself questions like, what if I stayed? What if I gave it one last try? What if I'm wrong about this new season? Allow me to make a statement with divine authority. The enemy's most formidable tool against your future is that nostalgia for a past that could have wiped you out. The more you look back, the more you delay what lies ahead. God won't rain his future blessings on a soul that keeps looking back. He calls you to be like Abraham, who left his father's country not knowing where he was going, but trusting God for his provision. He calls you to be like Paul, who said, "One thing alone I do, forgetting what lies behind, I aim at what lies ahead." Philippians 3:13. Why? Because your future lies ahead of you. Your healing is not behind. Your calling is not behind. Your anointing is not there, it's all ahead of you. This is the direction God is leading you, and it won't manifest until your mind, heart, and body are in tune with this forward movement. Let me ask you a serious question. What are you still clinging to that God has already removed? What voice are you still listening to that God has already silenced? Why are you trying to revive things that God has already set aside? You don't need further confirmation. You don't need another sign. What you need is determination, because the promised land is reserved for those who obey, not those who hesitate. When Jesus called his disciples, he didn't say, "Follow me," after bidding each one farewell. He said, "Leave everything behind," and those who hesitated stayed behind. The Spirit of the Lord is whispering to you right now, don't look back, start moving forward. I have something far greater for you than anything you leave behind. So today, commit. Burn the bridges, push aside the distractions, close the emotional doors, walk away from anything that has held your mind captive. You can't carry the weight of old seasons into the new. This step you're about to take is not only geographical, it's prophetic. And every step you take away from the past will bring you closer to your divine alignment, your spiritual upliftment, and the blessings that await you. I invite you to take a moment to praise God in your thoughts or in the comments, for He has great things in store for you. So seal this moment with unwavering determination. Write in the comments, "I won't look back. My future is ahead of me." Or, "I'm leaving the past behind. I'm walking toward what God has promised." May your commitment be recorded in heaven. May the enemy perceive your faith. May your being feel the liberation that comes when you stop looking back and look forward. That's when your destiny begins to shine. Don't look back. Don't wait. Don't let this moment pass you by. God is not only in your past, He is already present in your future, ready to receive you into this next dimension of your mission, surrounded by divine confirmations. What are the angels doing right now in the shadows to guide and protect you as you read these lines? You are not alone. Angels have been assigned around you, not symbolically, but literally. They are there, sent from the heavenly throne, to lead you, protect you, fight the battle on your behalf, and prepare the road ahead. You may not see them or hear them. However, if you're spiritually awake, you've already felt their presence. Have you ever experienced sudden peace in the midst of a storm? Have you ever faced a setback that turned out to be a blessing in disguise? Have you ever felt comfort when you seemed alone, but knew deep down that you were surrounded? It wasn't a figment of your imagination. These were the movements of the heavenly host. In Hebrews 1:14, it is clearly stated that are not all angels ministerial spirits sent to serve those who will inherit salvation? This shows that angels are not secondary characters in the faith narratives. They are divine servants, charged with carrying out God's will for your protection and advancement. Right now, angels are blocking the traps set by the enemy, designed to slow you down or even annihilate you. They are preparing those who will welcome you with friendship in the next stage of your journey. While you sleep, they infuse your mind with wisdom, strengthening your body and soul when the urge to give up arises. They fight in spheres you can't even perceive, so you can move forward in serenity. And let me tell you something crucial. The closer you get to a divine change, the more angelic activity intensifies, because when you enter the space reserved for you, you gain access to new missions. These new missions attract angelic reinforcements. The enemy is fully aware of this. That's why the battle has intensified. That's why your sleep has been disturbed. That's why confusion has tried to creep into your mind. But what the adversary has overlooked is that you do not travel this path alone. God never sends his child to a new territory without presenting warriors to accompany him, just as God had appointed an angel to go before Israel, as mentioned in Exodus 23:20. Behold, I will send an angel before you to preserve you on the way and to lead you to the place I have prepared. Let these words resonate within you. To the place I have prepared. That's the work that's being done right now. Heaven has mobilized vanguard angels to survey the earth, to dispel demonic resistance, to open unseen doors, and to spread peace in the hearts of those who will assist you. And when you reach the place God has ordained, you'll face an astonishing reality. Challenges that were once so painful will now seem easy. People will react to you with inexplicable kindness. The struggles you used to face on a daily basis will suddenly vanish. The light of understanding will quickly illuminate your path. Fears will vanish. The environment around you will feel different. This is no mere stroke of luck, it's a divine alignment. When angels complete their mission, the atmosphere they touch prepares for heavenly purpose. At this point, I invite you to take a moment and reflect on this. You've prayed for help, and that help is already at your side. What you are about to experience is not only orchestrated by God, but also protected by angelic beings. But these angels are responding to your faith, not your fears. They are now watching carefully. They await your approval. They await your proclamation. Every time you express a yes to the divine will, you allow the angels to act more effectively, fight with greater strength, and release blessings more quickly. So I encourage you to make a public declaration of faith. Write in the comments statements such as, "Angels prepare the way," "I trust God's plan," or "I walk in harmony with heaven." I know I'm not alone. Let your voice activate what's already in motion in your life. Let your agreement accelerate what's already in the works. Let your faith attract the divine into our physical world. Don't wait for help. It's already here. It's just waiting for you to step forward in obedience. Your path is already marked out. Your steps are safe. Your destination is secure. Heaven eagerly awaits your arrival. Angels precede you on this path. It's high time you caught up with what God has already put in place for you, a blanket of protection. Where God places you, the enemy cannot reach you. One of the biggest concerns that keeps so many people from following divine instructions is the fear of collapse. The question, what will happen if I go forward and everything collapses? This fear is not of God. It's a voice of the enemy, a seed of doubt sown to paralyze you just before your victory. So listen to the word of the Lord today. Where God plants you, the enemy can never uproot you. Where God establishes you, darkness has no place, and under his protection no weapon forged against you will prosper. This isn't just a motivational phrase, it's a spiritual law. Isaiah 54:17 makes it clear. Where God leads you is not just a new space to explore, it's also a place under protection. Spiritual boundaries surround this zone. Angelic vigilance watches. All around, divine favor is imbued in this place, and any enemy who dares to follow you here will be dealt with by heaven itself. Look at what the Lord declared in Exodus 14:14. The Lord will fight for you. Just stay calm. This is what awaits you on the other side of your obedience. Inexplicable peace, resources you haven't earned, an invisible protection, but one that you will indeed experience. However, the enemy has tried to convince you that moving forward would make you vulnerable. But don't tell yourself that staying where God no longer dwells is less risky. You won't find your safety in the familiar. You are safe in obedience. The children of Israel were protected in the desert not because they stood still, but because they followed the cloud. Whenever the cloud moved, it was imperative to follow it, for this cloud symbolized the divine presence and protection offered by God. What protected you last year won't be enough this year, because God has made changes. If you don't follow the path he has laid out for you, you could find yourself in a situation where grace has disappeared. This is why the devil strives to keep you mentally immobilized. He knows that once you enter the place God has prepared for you, he will lose all control over your life. This fear of the enemy underlies all your doubts. The enemy is not intimidated by your physical movement, but dreads your activation. As soon as you access God's intended place, your prayer life becomes more powerful. Your discernment strengthens, blessings begin to flow, your authority grows, and your protection becomes unshakable. God himself watches over you. Psalm 91 verses 1-4 reminds us that God's chosen place for you is more than just a place of prosperity. It's a sanctuary of protection. You've faced storms, endured betrayals, and wept in silence, wondering if things would ever get better. Today, heaven answers, yes, but not here. It's over there where I'm sending you. So I encourage you to speak up with courage. Leave a comment to declare, where God plants me, I am safe. Let the enemy know that he has no power over this new season you are beginning. May your proclamation be heard in heaven, for you are not alone in this endeavor. You are not venturing into uncertainty. You are living a divine transplant to holy ground. Every adversary of your soul will be kept at bay by the hand of God itself. Have no fear. Where he sends you, he protects you. Where he guides you, he covers you with his grace. What he entrusts to you can never be snatched away by any evil being. It's not just a different place, it's a fortress, a sanctuary of peace, a place where your enemies will stumble and your destiny will flourish. The fulfillment of its promises is closer than you think. You've wondered, you've wept in silence, asking, Lord, when will it happen? What you haven't fully realized is that while you've been waiting, heaven has been actively working. The wheels of divine time are turning in the shadows, and now change is on the horizon. You can feel the transformation in your spirit, a slight vibration in your soul, a spiritual pressure whispering that something is afoot. A change is taking place. What you've been praying for is beginning to move from the invisible realm to full reality. The fulfillment of God's promises for your existence is imminent. It is within your grasp. Many people let their moment pass in the quest for great and shining signs. Yet divine fulfillment often begins quietly. It's the subtle movements, the unexpected favors, the surprising clarifications, the little yeses that bring about a supernatural acceleration. Consider the story of Elijah in 1 Kings 18. After a prolonged period of drought, the prophet declared, "I hear the sound of torrential rain." When he asked his servant to scan the sky, the latter saw nothing. Elijah ordered him to look again, and on the seventh attempt, the servant spotted a cloud the size of a man's hand. At first glance, it seemed paltry and insignificant, yet to Elijah, it was a sign that something immense was about to happen, and indeed rain fell, crops flourished, and the drought ended. Right now, your existence may still seem barren. Your bank account may seem to reflect lack. Your relationships may be strained. Your body may still feel pain. However, if you can calm the tumult, you'll hear a gentle murmur, that of a cloud beginning to form. This is the beginning of a revelation, the first sign of grace, the first vibrations of a tremendous whirlwind of success. Indeed, the manifestation of your expectations often begins with subtle clues, before revealing itself with incredible force. Revealed with incredible force. That's why the enemy is redoubling his efforts to harm you right now. That's why you're feeling a deeper sense of discouragement. That's why your mind is heavy, your nights troubled, and your emotions unstable. He's aware of what's coming. He sees the glory on the horizon. He perceives the doors opening, and he knows that this blessing he has tried so desperately to conceal is now unstoppable. The promise is in action. It's crucial not to give in to discouragement now. We are at a turning point, a decisive point. It is precisely at this moment that many choose to turn back. This isn't just a message you're receiving. Perhaps it's a true divine invitation. The scriptures remind us that where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Matthew 6:21. If these words move you, consider making a gift of faith, whether it's 10, 30, or even 100 euros, as a gesture of total trust in God. May your contribution be the trigger for unseen miracles, and may heaven gratify you with peace, health, and divine favor. Don't let it slip through your fingers just before the blessings manifest themselves. For what God is about to perform in your existence is exceptional. It's not late, it's not partial, but total, sudden, undeniable, and irreversible. Your financial reversal is closer than you imagine. Your long-awaited healing is also at hand. Your answered prayer, your long-awaited door, your newfound peace of mind, your family breakthrough, it's all closer than you think. And when it happens, it won't be in small steps. It will be sudden. Joel 2:25-26 assures us, "I will restore the years that the locust devoured. You will eat your fill and give thanks in the name of the Lord your God, who has done wonders for you." So, if this message resonates with you, don't hesitate to click on the link in the comments to receive a free book every week that could transform your life and bring you prosperity and happiness. And don't forget to join our community by clicking on the link in the description or the join button, so you can share with other Jesus enthusiasts. By joining forces, we can bring messages of faith to souls, in search of hope. If you've stayed this far and a video pops up on your screen, click on it. It could be a sign from God, especially for you. Praises. 1. Have you ever felt that moment when everything seems to go dark just before a great blessing? Share your experience in the comments and tell us what you've discovered through these struggles. 2. What promise from God inspires you to persevere even in difficult times? Write it down below to inspire others going through storms. 3. How do you handle the enemy's attacks as you move closer to your spiritual breakthrough? Share your thoughts and encouragement with our community. 4. If this message of faith resonates with you, simply write, "I cling to hope," to show your trust in God. 5. If you feel the power of this promise, leave a comment saying, "I believe in His miracles," to testify to your faith.